Welcome to Market Like a Hot Shot, episode 41, Mr. Field.
And it's lead like a hot shot.
Lead like a hot shot.
It's not going to be led like a hot shot. Like,
it's going to be lead like
material.
A hot shot.
Yep.
So I think between the two of us, what do we have, like 40 years of leadership experience?
Probably, yeah.
You're
definitely.
Back in your TGX and retail days.
Yeah, I've had management roles in different companies and such. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a technology executive before I ventured my way into the marketing and staffing world, right?
Wow.
So, and also, you know, with AMA, right? Got that leadership role there too. So you got lots of brains here.
Lots.
We led, or we lead.
We lead.
All the time. So, you know, so big question, you know, start with a couple of tactics here. You know, why your leadership's not a title, it's a behavior. It's how you act.
You know,
right?
that's something I think a lot of people don't get when they first get into a leadership role. Like, people have the title of manager.
Yep.
Like, and we've all probably worked for those bosses that,
Yes.
like, once they become a boss, they also become an a-hole.
An a-hole, exactly.
We got to keep it PG.
And they end up buying a BMW, too. That makes it even worse.
Actually, I have someone that did that.
Yeah, exactly.
I know exactly. That actually did happen to me.
And you know what's really good, too, is if you weren't a leader, you're an individual contributor, because then you can lead by example, right? Because you've been there, done that. You've been in their shoes. It's important as a leader. So we'll get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
What's another thing we talk about today?
You know, something I say all the time, and it's again, easier said than done, is that you should never, as a leader, ask someone to do something that you personally wouldn't do. So,
exactly.
You know, we've got our producer, Reagan, over here. Like, I wouldn't ask her
Hi,
to
Reagan.
do. And we'll get into that in more details as we go through. And
so,
then,
like, you know, if you ran, like, a janitorial group, you want to have somebody that shovels the poop, right?
Yeah, if you're not willing to do it.
Shovel the poop, you're done, right? And then how servant leadership creates loyalty, trust. Because remember, as a leader, you're serving your team.
Right.
They are not serving you.
Yeah, the biggest
The
mistake
mindset.
I see a lot of leaders make is that they manage up, or they manage down, and they don't really.
You got to manage up. I always, like, as a leader, I always managed up. Okay, really, my team is my success, everyone's success. So, how about some shout-outs today? Who do we got for shout-outs this week?
So first, I want to shout out, and she was just in here a few minutes ago, is our good friend Nira. Nira, wonderful comment. Like, you know, we were talking about how we love the comments on there.
Gotta get the comments out there.
You know, like you said, some of the comments we get are like,
spam.
Yeah, or not necessarily spam, but they're just like not great. But she had a really good and thoughtful comment on episode 40, which was great.
Shout out to Nara.
Yeah, so I'm glad she was able to see us do our intro when we were setting up.
I know, we had to kick
today.
her out, though. Say, hey, we're going on the air. And, of course, shout out to my favorite here, Reagan. She's doing a great job for us, doing some producing work. So I'll shout out to you every week.
Yeah, and Virginia's out today, but
Who's
she'll be
Virginia
back.
again?
A.K.A. Victoria.
Victoria, okay.
She's going to have a shirt. My name is Virginia.
My name. She had like Eminem, you know, song. My name is Slim Shady. My name is Virginia.
Are you the real Slim Shady?
A real Slim Shady. So it's great stuff, and kind of get back after that wonderful Florida trip, get back into the networking group.
Yeah, you already got the short sleeves on already.
Well, I kind of messed up. You know, the morning started like, 60 degrees?
It was crazy.
And then I went out to come here to the studio, and like, what happened?
Right.
Yeah, what happened?
I mean, we had a 70-degree day. What was it, like Tuesday or Wednesday?
77, actually.
It was insane. And, like, I went outside. It was beautiful. And it's great because now the sidewalks are clear.
No
the
snow.
Pavement,
Well, mostly. Right.
So it's good. So kind of like getting into what we've been talking about, right? You know, leadership really does show up everywhere.
Everywhere you go.
You know, it's how people show up, how they treat each other, and how they carry themselves.
Okay, good. Yeah. No, that's all about. It's all about your empathy and how you present yourself.
Right.
Yeah. If you're like a King Tut leader, I always call it, right?
The dictators.
The dictator. There's a lot of infographics out there. They show that the leader's up on this chair and the little people down there. Where there's another picture which I love. I have to find it. Where it shows the leader. We were just doing push-ups, by the way, right?
Yeah.
We're like the leaders holding their team, like they're carrying their team. They're leading their team. Because what I like about being a leader is I love mentoring other leaders, future leaders. We do that a lot with AMA. Boston, you know, as president,
right.
What I always talk to the VPs is, you know, I'm here to groom you to be the next president. And that's the way a mindset the leader should have. So before we get back into the game here about leadership, we're not going by without talking about this. Spring challenge, Mr. Feudo. What's going on with the spring challenge?
So I have a funny story that I went to step on my scale last night, and I was at 199 pounds.
That scale's broken.
It is totally broken. So I ordered a new one. So when my scale, before it started flaking out on me, I was around 215. So
excuses.
But you know what? But I am making progress. That's what's important.
I still haven't seen you at the gym.
I know. I got to get to the
gym.
I
gave you free passes.
I know. And you know what? One of the things that I noticed driving in here is that now with the snow melting. So Jeff and I, we used to go meet for coffee. And then we started, hey, let's go do a walk, which he used to love, especially on his leg days.
Yeah.
Like, I just did legs, and then we walked for 2 miles.
I got up to 10,000 steps on the old Fitbit here.
Yeah, we got to get on there.
Right. So that's good. Yeah.
So, like, we're, making progress. I'll have hopefully a better update next week on that.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get back into the game here. What is actually leadership? Let's define that. This is like the Wikipedia version from Family Feud out here.
Well, I think the thing, too, is that leadership it's not a title, it's not a rank, it's not a position. It's how you influence people.
Yeah, it's a big influencer. You don't have to be an Instagram follower with 2 million followers influencer. You got to walk in the room and the room lights up. Right. If you're a leader like that, you have influence. We talk about behavior, your consistency, because what happens after that if you're like this?
If you're like that, people are actually going to follow what you do, not what you say.
Exactly. I hate leaders, not to say I hate people. I hate leaders that say, do it like this, and then they go and they go golfing or something.
I know. Do I ever do that to you, Reagan? I'm like, oh, go do this so I can go, relax downstairs and take a nap on the couch.
Never relaxing.
No, he doesn't take. He takes a lot of naps, though. I heard, especially after 41 push-ups.
I know, I'm still winded from something we'll just share with the hotshots out there, that a new thing Jeff and I started doing with episode 40 is to warm up for the episode. We're doing the episode number of push-ups.
In a row, by the way.
Yeah, in a row.
It has to be in a row.
Yeah, so we've got it. Reagan's going to put it on TikTok. And probably Instagram too.
Instagram, YouTube.
It's going to be everywhere. So
Twitter,
you can
or
see,
X or whatever the hell it's called
you see
now.
2 old guys sweating it out trying to do our push-ups. But yeah, I mean that's something that you really want to remember. Like, if you want a high-performing team, you have to model that high-performing behavior.
Yeah.
And you don't just speak about it. You have to actually go out and do it.
And guess what's going to start happening now?
What?
Reagan's going to do some push-ups with us.
Can you do 40 push-ups? You probably could, easily, right?
No?
Maybe 8?
You could do 8. Hey, that's okay. But, so this is a great point, right? We did 41. She could do 8. How do I lead Reagan to up her game? Then she's going to do 9. She's going to do 15.
Right.
And then maybe 3 months from now, she'll be doing 41 push-ups. Right, Reagan?
Right.
Yeah.
So expectations.
Exactly. That's what a leader does. It mentors aspiring leaders to be leaders. So what do you say about never asking someone to do something you wouldn't do? Right. We're doing the push-ups. Imagine if I went, Reagan, go do 40 push-ups, and I did 3.
Yeah.
Same thing. So
yeah, I mean, it's the core of integrity-based leadership is to
you have to have integrity.
Yeah, is to not go and not ask someone to do something that you don't want to do. That's when you start a business. One of the things you have to do is you pretty much do everything in the beginning.
Yeah, you have to. So that way you have a base, anyways.
Yeah,
right?
And then it's once you've gone and done that, then you can go and ask people to do that. The best managers that I've worked for were people that were in the role and then got promoted to manager, not just because they were good at what they did. A lot of times they'll be a wonderful developer and then they get promoted and they're a terrible manager because they don't have that set of skills. But the ones that have both sets of skills, the leadership and the technical skills, when they move up, they know, they can advise you, they can guide you, they can coach you and mentor you. So that's huge. Telling someone to go, I need you to go write this, or I need you to go have this difficult conversation with the customer.
Yeah.
You don't want them to have you do that because they're just brushing it off and they're too afraid to do it themselves.
Weak leader.
Yeah.
I always talk about that a lot.
That's what we call what? A not shot, right?
A not shot, not like a hot shot.
Yeah.
Don't lead like a hot shot. So what happens, though, it creates trust and it creates respect.
Right. Without demanding it. And that's the other thing, too. Like, you can't demand. I've seen so many leaders fail because they try and demand respect. And it's like, you're not going to, if you're a dictator, you're not going to get respect from the people that work for you.
Especially now. You know, maybe back in the days when we first got into our professional lives back in the 80s and 90s. You know,
it was a
back
different
then,
world back
I
then.
remember, and I'm going to get a little controversial here, the typical middle-aged white man running the department, right, that wanted, I remember I dated this dude's secretary, right? And here I am, I'm 22 years old, right? Yeah. And she's like, oh, I got to do his laundry. I got to do all this. You know, I got to go get him his lunch. I was like, is that your core responsibility? Not really. So here I am, I'm 22. Keep in mind, all right, I did 41 push-ups. Back then I was competing.
Yeah.
Like with my fitness and all that.
Showing off the guns.
I was showing off guns, and I went into the guy's office. I could easily get fired and said, why are you doing this? That's not the typical leader that is demanding somebody to do that's not helping them become leaders. Because as a leader, you got to inspire your team and mentor your team and be a positive influence. But if you're like that, go do my laundry secretary type of leader, that's not going to work in 2026. I'm sorry.
No, and it's it's to your benefit too. And a lot of managers and leaders, they don't want to give up control, or they're afraid that their people are going to shine above them. Especially if you're in corporate. I noticed that a lot in my years in corporate. With us now today, we don't have that issue. But I got in trouble once for taking initiative.
Yeah, sometimes they get threatened.
Yeah,
and that's another thing I know we didn't bring up here, but sometimes we'll say the uninspiring leader is the one that feels threatened. Don't feel threatened. You know, if you want to be memorable as a leader, that you want to be that person that actually doesn't care about being threatened, and help your team grow to become. Because if you have a bunch of leaders on your team, you're going to be very successful. You're going to be $1 billion company.
Right.
Yeah, as a startup, you get the right people on board. Yeah. And all that.
I look at the work that like Reagan or Virginia or other members of the team do, and it's they design graphics a heck of a lot better than I do.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me to sit there and beat them up over them doing a good job, I just think sounds idiotic. But that's kind of the approach that a lot of these managers, especially in these big companies, do. So
yeah, I suck at Canva. So if you want to, always hire people as a leader. Hire people that do things better than you.
Right.
And all you're doing is you're inspiring them to be in your shoes at some point. So so another examples about never asking someone to do what you do is punctuality. I hate when leaders are like, it's 8:31. Why are you late? Treat people like humans. There's traffic. There's family issues going on, right?
Well, we were making a joke about that this morning.
Yeah, no. Where's Reagan? She walked in.
Yeah, it was like 2 minutes after she was supposed to be in, and you're like, where is she? I'm like, she's probably running 5 to 10 minutes late. But she probably texted how many times Reagan will come in, and then I'm like, oh, I just got your text from an hour ago when you said that you're going to be a few minutes late. Yeah. But it's all, it's like, that's the other thing, too. It's like, if we have something really important that they need to be in on time, I have full faith in the team that they'll do that. But, beating someone up because they're a minute late, and I used to work for someone that did that. He would go on the instant messenger app that we had. Yeah. And if you weren't, your start time, whether it was 8, 9, 10, whatever it was, if your light wasn't indicating that you were there, especially with all the technology we have today, you'd get marked down for it and would show up in your review.
Wow. Oh, so I have a story, right? So back in 2015, I told this story a few times. Remember the big, huge snow apocalypse we had?
Every Monday a blizzard.
Every Monday was a blizzard.
I remember that.
So I was working, I won't say where, but let's say I was stuck in Florida. Mm-hmm. Right, I had to go down there for business and all that. I couldn't get back, couldn't fly back, right, because the airports were closed.
Yeah.
And so I had this boss, we'll just call, he chewed me out saying, you should have got your butt up here. You know how important it is to be here. I was like, well, the airports are closed. Well, you should drive. I'm like, drive? The roads are closed. We had like 3 feet of snow.
What are you going to get, like a Hummer?
You going to get me a snowmobile? To get to work? So bad example of a leader.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be a little realistic out there. So don't demand punctuality. Don't demand excellence.
Yeah.
Because, everyone cuts corners. If he was in Florida trying to get back to New England, I bet he'll be stuck in Florida too. Right? Typical white male. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit
well, and I don't want to get too much off a tangent, but this reminds me of something we talked about earlier in one of the very early episodes of the podcast, is that like a lot of times people want to run their own business because they don't want a boss.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to name him because he, I don't want to like.
We got to be a little edgy here.
No, but he's actually he's a good boss, and he'll probably come to one of our events. I won't name him unless I ask him first if it's okay. But I had one boss that I worked for, and I'd sometimes be in the office till like 6:30 at night, and he'd be there. Like if I needed something, he'd be there.
That's a good boss. Actually.
I had so many good bosses at TJX. I'll call out TJX because it's a phenomenal company to work for.
Hey, it's Framingham's biggest company.
It is, and I love my experiences there.
No.
I went out to dinner one night. 4 of my former bosses were there. They were all incredible people, but I had one that he's like, text me, call me, wherever, whatever you need. And so like I was doing that, and then he kind of pulled me aside and he's like, I do that for you. He's like, just because I do it, doesn't mean that you have to go and do that for your people. He's like, I appreciate that you do it.
Yeah.
But like that's another way to kind of look at the leading by example is like sometimes you're setting the bar very, very high for your team.
Yeah.
And they try and emulate that. And, he not only had the foresight to think about how that was impacting me because I'm like, I was dealing with this over the weekend. I'm like, they called me on a Friday night and, just giving him a review, wasn't complaining, but I was giving him a review. And he's like, you don't have to do that. He's like, I don't expect you to work on your vacation days. He's like, yes, I do that.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of the flip side of the I don't want to work this weekend, Reagan, you go take care of it. Like
and he's going to like playing tennis or something.
Yeah, like you go
pickleball now.
Yeah.
Pickleball.
Jeff and I are gonna go play pickleball. I need you to get all my work done for me.
Don't you hate the boss that's like, I'm going golfing?
Yeah.
And then everyone's slaving away on a 75-degree day. Don't be that. So let's get into servant leadership, the Hotshot way.
Yeah.
The servant leadership. It's not about being soft. Don't be a soft leader.
That's true.
Right? Put your team success before your ego. I hate BMW drivers because they're egotistical, right? Don't be an ego person.
It's true. A lot of times, and again, to give you an example, I remember I was on a team that had a senior leader and then 2 other leaders below him. One of those leaders was, we did all of this because of our team. The other leader had a different approach, which was, we did all of this in spite of my team. And both teams were equally good. Yeah. But the way the leader framed them was so different.
Exactly. What I mean? The success of the team. And, as a leader, if you mess up, if your team messes up, say I messed up.
Yeah.
Not they messed up, I messed up. I'm the leader, right? I lead this organization. I don't know, something happened. Somebody blew up a car by accident. I don't know. Don't blame them. Don't say, I hate sports coaches that say, oh, Joey sucked today.
Yeah.
It's more like I sucked today. I didn't lead. I didn't direct Joey the proper way to be successful.
So this is a good conversation for you and I to have with the hotshots out there because
hotshots,
all of our hotshots, the Hotshot Nation.
Yeah, Hotshot Nation. I like that.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a new one. Reagan, write that down.
This is like the definition. We're giving you new definitions. But I've had situations where someone on the team did drop the ball.
Yeah,
but that stays within the team. It stays within. I don't go and rat them out to senior leadership. It's like the buck stops here.
Yeah,
and it's like so the team someone on the team made a mistake. If they need to know who, then we share it, and it's just like, but this is what we're doing to fix it.
Yep. So that's a great point because all the time is all right. We messed up. Because you know what? You're going to learn from failure.
Yeah.
All the time. We failed all the time, every day. And you learn from it, and this is what we're going to do differently. And I'm getting back to the sports again. That's why I always like to model coaches, because there are a lot of great sports coaches out there that have that, when they're talking to the media, they put it on themselves. I'm leading the organization, keep it in-house whenever there's some adjustments need to be made, but but the media keeps plugging for stuff. But also being a servant leader. What's some they remove obstacles. That's a big one. What's some other things that servant leaders do? Providing
clarity. That's something that is critically important, because people really need to understand what they're working on, what you're asking them to do.
Yeah. And protecting your team. I just talked about that. If there's somebody messes up, I'm using clean words today, messes up, keep it within the team. No one needs to know.
And that's the other thing too. It's like that's a sign of a very, very poor leader, is when they blame the team. I always say that we succeed as a team and we fail as a team.
Exactly.
We're all in it together.
How about celebrating wins?
That's a huge one.
One thing I love about Broadreach, where I am in my staffing stuff, is every time somebody does something positive, we have this email that goes around to everybody. Congratulations, Jim. Congratulations, Reagan. Great work. You're the stud. Whatever. But it's good. It's positive energy. So as a leader, you want to always celebrate as much as possible, even if it's a small win. I mean, it's not like, hey, I just scored this $2 million client, or you just got this $2 client. Celebrate them.
That's something I used to try to work into my staff meetings, was that, we'd have a win, a project would go live or something, someone would have a milestone, someone would do something incredible, and we wanted the world, we wanted the whole team to know what was going on.
Yeah, so celebrate those wins and take responsibility for failures.
Yeah.
You don't stand above the team, you stand behind it. And that goes back to, the leader not being up here and your worker bees or your future leaders down here. You're the leader. You got your team up here, and you're carrying them like that, right? Like some push-ups.
Right.
Leading by setting examples. So what's some of the examples a leader could do?
Well, I mean, the thing, too, is like your habits become the team's habits. So using the example I used of one of my managers before, who was like, available all the time to everybody, it works both ways. So like you're either doing something that's modeling really good behavior, or, you come in late, you are sloppy with your work, your team's going to follow suit.
Of course.
With us, I mean, Reagan hears it all the time from me. I'm like, we need to pay attention to detail. Like, I will look at Canva images, and I'm like,
Canva images.
Yeah, I go into Canva, and I'm like, why is this not centered? So, like, those are things. But, the team has to learn. They need to know what your values are, so they
can. And then we talked about energy. Now, imagine if you walk in the room.
Yeah.
The rest of the team's going to take a nap.
That is one of the hardest parts about being a leader, too, is that you have to, even if you're inside, the tank is empty, you need to project that the tank is full.
You can have an awake shot.
Like, the president that Reagan was named after is a really good story about President Reagan, that, like, whenever he stepped into because he was an actor, whenever he stepped into the Oval Office or he was in front of cameras, it's like, the show's on.
The show's on.
Like, even when he got shot, he was able to, like, walk into the hospital. The second they closed the doors and the cameras couldn't see him, he collapsed.
Yeah.
He mustered enough energy to do that.
That was impressive.
So, like, that's one of those things where, you got to think about it. When people are watching you, you have to lead by example. And if you're having those moments where you're going through a tough time, do it privately,
Exactly.
Like vent, scream. I wait until the team's all gone before I start, like, yelling. No, I'm kidding.
No. You ever seen, he's, feisty Italian guy here.
The Italian temper has been coming out a lot lately.
So, in being prepared as a leader, I love being prepared. I was a stickler for that back in the days. Just making sure you anticipate things happening. As a leader, you should never be like reactive. You got to be proactive. That's a tip. And owning your mistakes, we talked about that. How about staying calm under pressure? Now, I used to work at some pretty high pressure places.
Yeah.
It's always important to have the same voice.
Right.
Right. You ever have a leader that screams?
Oh yeah.
Why do they do that?
It's they can't control themselves, which makes me, as a human being, it makes me wonder how they're going to succeed outside of life.
I hate to see them around their family.
Yeah,
if they're like that,
it's not a good thing. Like, have you ever heard me yell?
No.
Yeah, like I don't.
But you could be forceful. Like you could be stern. You could, as a leader, your tone should be the same no matter if it's positive or you have to constructive criticism, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you could fire somebody just talking like this,
right?
You don't have to say "You're fired" and yell it out, right?
You want to be like The Apprentice.
The Apprentice. Oh boy, here we go.
That's going to get us in a lot of controversy
there we go.
if we go that way.
Don't do that.
But I mean, sometimes you have to have those difficult conversations, and sometimes you have to be firm. It's and it does require a little bit of an emotion, but
just stay calm under pressure. Be consistent. It's a big one, and again,
do
the unglamorous work if you have to, and that's how they leaders set the tone and creativeness, right?
Right.
How about the ripple effect?
Yeah, I mean that's something that the higher up you go on the food chain, for lack of a better term, the higher you are in the org chart, the more influence you have. So those habits trickle down,
trickle down effect. Yep.
I remember 20 plus years ago, almost 30 years ago, I was at a company and the president started using 2 words. It was focus and hypothetically.
Yeah.
So everybody's language shifted. So if you were talking about something that might happen, everyone started using the word hypothetically, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But then he always said, we need to focus on this. So instead of us saying we're going to work on this, it trickled down from the president to the VPs to the managers to then the individual.
A lot of levels, man.
Yeah, and that was a small company too.
Yeah, wow. You don't see that today.
Right.
And then, good leadership compounds too.
Yeah, but so does bad leadership too.
Yeah, if you got a jerk as a leader, guess what you're going to become?
You're
probably
be
a jerk
too, and
right?
it's contagious. It's like a virus that spreads. You get one bad
leader, and look out, it's all over. So here's the thing with when I talk to leaders all the time in the staffing world, people don't leave companies because sometimes a company is great, but you suck as a leader, and guess what happens, right?
Yeah.
People leave.
That's one of the main. I've talked to a few people. I think it's crazy when people do this, but they'll quit a job without having something.
That's bad,
and that's a bad thing to do. It makes you very, very hard to get hired after that.
Yeah, because usually we like passive candidates as a staff member.
But pretty much everyone that I've talked to that has done that, it's what was the issue? A leader is either their direct supervisor or somebody above them.
Yeah, that was just
that they had to interact with. I mean, you probably have seen that happen. I was at a company where my direct supervisors were all great. It was their leader above them
that sucked.
That I had issues with.
I'm using that word "sucked" a lot today. Sorry, man.
We'll have to do a suck less.
Suck less. Don't suck as a leader. If you want a better team, become a better leader. It's the bottom line here, and that's hey, was fire up some tactics.
Yeah. So I mean, let's just kind of recap some of the stuff.
This is a recap. So if you fell asleep during this podcast, this next 2 minutes.
If you're Victor Lee and you're traveling to Korea and you woke up while you're re-listening to
He's listening to episode 26. I know. He slept through all 26 episodes.
But model the behavior that you want to see. That I think is the key.
Be the example. Yep. Don't never ask someone to do something you would not do.
Right.
All right. If you think you're too cool to do it, don't ask somebody else to do it.
One of my other favorite ones is that you don't command people, you ask them. You want to serve your team. Do I ever say, Reagan, go do this, go do that?
Effing do this, Reagan.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Get off your butt and go do this.
Don't command them. And you have to be, clarify, be consistent, and calm.
Yeah.
Calm is so cool. Even when somebody, this is not a leadership thing, but somebody screams at you, don't scream back. Because they don't want it. That's what they want. They want you to scream back. Because then you're at their level. Don't be at their level. Be above them. Be a leader, right? And then own your mistakes publicly, just like when I see coaches, sports coaches. Because of me, our team sucked today. Well, I don't even say it like that, though. I would say we were not good today. We, right?
Yeah.
And it's my responsibility to right the ship. Say it just like that, not James didn't do enough push-ups today. He's out, right?
But I mean, the other thing on the flip side of that too, right, is that while you're while you're taking responsibility too. You don't want to let people off the hook.
Yeah, you don't.
If they are legit screwing up.
Yeah, you do that privately.
But you do it privately. And that's a mistake.
Yep. Your example is the loudest tool of all. So you've heard this a lot. Leading like by example, being calm, praising publicly, criticizing privately as a leader, and just know your team on a personal basis. I've done that a lot. I was very empathetic. I was an empathetic leader back in the days when I was a tech executive and all. They know that you're a real person.
Right.
You're not some like AI bot or something that's leading a team. You have to be like that. So
yeah, but before we wrap up too, we're going to throw a quick bonus section in here.
Oh boy, I like bonus sections.
I love throwing all this stuff.
Throwing it all out.
So a lot of the hotshots out there might be on the younger side or new in their career, right?
Yeah.
So, question for you, Mr. DeSocio, is you're in an individual contributor role.
Yeah.
How do you get that leadership experience without, as a recruiter, how many times do people come to you like, I want to be a manager, and you're like, well, what's your experience, right?
0. Yeah.
None. So they need to have that experience. What do you think people should do?
My big advice, and this goes back to your college days and even in your high school days.
Right.
Lead an association.
Absolutely.
Or an organization, even if it has nothing to do with your career. You led a team, a sports team. You're the coach. You're like the treasurer for an association in your college or a club. If you led people, like right now with AMA Boston, right?
Right. You're the president of AMA Boston.
I'm the president.
Which is great.
And then, but what the board of AMA, what I've talked to them about is you're leading an organization within AMA.
Right.
Whether you're in sponsorship, you're in membership, you're in events. Join that. That's a volunteer. Yes, you don't get paid for it. It's a volunteer. But volunteer as much as possible, as much as your time allows. Because then you put that on your resume. You might have been a software engineer, but then you led an organization, you led people. That you'll have the upper hand into getting that leadership role quicker than somebody that doesn't.
Right. I mean, going back to what you said about, I don't think we have a lot of hotshots that are in high school or college.
Well, we might.
We have some that are in college, but like
I was going around Framingham High the other day. Scan this. I was going to scan this thing.
Well, we at Venture we run into a lot of college students from Suffolk and Northeastern that are
I'm glad you mentioned Northeastern. Hey, yeah. I'm going to be at Northeastern tonight. I'm actually doing it on a marketing panel.
That's going to be cool.
Yeah,
we'll have to
classmates
put that out there.
Yeah, I need some of those Spotify scan things.
But like in college, like for example, were you ever involved in any organizations?
Sports.
You were sport, yeah. I mean, I played a couple sport. I did softball, basketball, hockey, at Bentley. But I was president of 2 organizations while I was at Bentley. That was
good. See, there you go.
And that was good resume building. But, when I first started my career professionally, I had a difficult time getting into management. But what I did is I was a member of Toastmasters right down the road from here.
Yeah.
And I was president of the club. Then I became what they call an area governor at that point. And that helped me create, because you'd have to deal with things that you deal with some of the BS that comes along with being a leader.
It
right?
does.
Like
you'll be surprised.
Issues.
You'll be surprised.
And it's something that if you're not in a role at work, I mean, the other thing too is you got to be ready for when you get promoted to that level because it can be an eye opener because you deal with.
I may have a tip for that. Get yourself a mentor. If you're a brand new leader, get yourself a mentor and work, and it'll be like an accountability partner.
Right.
They'll help coach you along, especially your first 1 to 3 years as a leader. So, all right, calls to action. What's some calls? Like, follow, share us.
Yeah, and we
got to get those comments out there.
And make them good comments.
And great constructive comments about Market Like a Hotshot because it helps more than you know. And then share this with your network. Everyone out here, you ever hear the third degree of separation? Like, let's say you have 500.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon, yeah. So if you have like 500 connections on LinkedIn, you have access to 20,000 people. Think about that. So share us. Market Like a Hotshot on your favorite platform, right? And especially if somebody's stepping up to leadership. If you know any new leaders or inspiring leaders, share our podcast because there's a lot.
Right.
We've packed in quite a lot in the short time here today.
There's a lot of stuff that we covered. And then, of course, we have the big event coming up on April 8th.
April 8th at Cappy Sports Bar in Framingham.
Yeah.
It'll be our third live broadcast, right?
And we're calling it Market Like a Hotshot Live 33 and a third.
23 and a third. A lot of threes there.
Yeah.
So, so even if you're not a networker or come down, if you're friends, all our friends out there, come to Cappy's Sports Bar, Framingham, 6 o'clock?
6 to 8.
6 to 8.
It may, so one thing I'm going to share is that it's going to be a lot different from our other ones, which are held downstairs.
This is at a sports bar, too.
This is at a sports bar. It's going to be the first one that we can have alcohol at. So
oh, no. People may start throwing stuff at us.
I know. It's going to be crazy.
That?
Yeah. And, I was talking with the manager yesterday, and there will probably be karaoke, possibly.
Can we do a Metallica song again?
Yeah, you and I are going to have to kick off karaoke.
We'll do a Metallica song.
Reagan and I are going to do a song together, right?
For sure. I've already done karaoke there.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. She's been to Cappy Sports Bar.
Yeah, and you in Virginia. Only if you can say her name right.
All right. I'm going to sing this song, Meet Virginia by Train. How's that?
But I mean, it's going to be like a whole night experience. We're going to have some surprises there. We may have some giveaways. There's a lot of cool things.
A lot of stuff. So we'll post a link here. Why don't we post a link on our follow-up to that event? Like you to come there and like and follow us on all our favorite platforms: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, YouTube. And one last thing, gotta get that merch. It's getting warmer, so get yourself a Market Like a Hotshot T-shirt. Wear that wherever you go and lead like a pro. And we'll leave it at that.
Love it.
Love it. Have a good day. MarketLikeAHotshot.com.
Episode 41. See you at 42.
See you at 42. See ya.